This picture was simply a miracle.
Something was just right in the stars.
We knew that we were making something rather unique. The angels were working with this particular piece.
It's a story about courage and beauty, about rising up. It's the American dream.
It just happened to hit the American need for heroes at a time when there weren't a great many.
That we're all like million-to-one shots, and that as long as we keep plugging away, there's an opportunity for us to go the distance in our lives. I came out to California, and I realized very early on that I was pretty well categorized as a certain kind of actor, and pretty much the physical, the heavy, and I thought, okay, this is going to really limit options, and that's when I fell back on my writing.
He came in, and he was the most charming guy. He was bright, he was funny. It was just such a surprisingly delightful experience being with him that a half hour led to probably an hour. But in fact, I had nothing for him. And he said to me, you know, I also write. And I said, yeah. He said, would you read a script that I've written? I said, of course.
I started thinking about, what can I write about? What can I write about? I was influenced by certain films. I always liked, like Mean Streets or Marty or On the Waterfront. And I thought maybe I should write something about what my particular dilemma is, or maybe what a lot of people's dilemma is just never getting the opportunity to present themselves. And if they give the opportunity, are they really going to be ready for it? And what really inspires someone to do something above and beyond the call of duty? You know, what really makes them dig down and show their soul, which is love, fighting for something that is above and beyond money. It's about self-integrity, personal pride, self-respect.
I guess it was no more than 6 weeks later that he brought in what was the first draft of Rocky. And I contacted Irwin immediately, and I said, Irwin, you got to read this script. And he did, and he felt as I did about it. And we optioned the script.
It is a fight story, but it's a fight of it's not a fight about two guys in the ring. It's a fight about a man trying to get some self-worth, a man trying to become something he's not, and reaching for the moon. That's what it's a fight about.
They seem to be very pleased with the idea because these two producers are known for doing things that are much more of the artistic bent and not just action movies. So it was never intended to be a fight film. The fight film was just really the payoff at the end, the allegory.
My friend Gene called me and said, I want to send you this script. It's about a boxer. I said, boxing, give me a break. I'm not interested in boxing. Pretty stupid sport. He said, no, please read it. I said, So I finally read it. Third or fourth page, this guy's talking to his turtles, Cuff and Link.
Hey, girl, say hi. You know, if you guys could sing or dance, I wouldn't be doing this, you know.
And I was charmed. So I said, yes.
Mind you, this was a low-budget movie. Beautifully, beautifully written, with a young actor who was a great writer, charismatic, and full of daring.
I got the script from Irwin Winkler, and it was the most eloquent street prose I ever read. It was 98 pages of a gift. Some would have thought it was a fight picture. I knew it was a love story, where life and life's environment helped stray people stand up, stand tall.
I think it was, in a strange way, spectacularly authentic material in terms of the way the characters were drafted and what all of these characters were after in their lives. And some of it was so subtly stated.
I turned those pages, and I have to say it was beautifully, beautifully written. The language, a little Odette's, a little, you know, that kind of street language.
How you feeling this morning, huh? Full of life?
Fine.
Hey, how you doing, killer?
And the female character Adrienne spoke to my heart because she had this exquisite shyness, which I was this person like this, you know, and I understood Adrienne. And so I said, I'm going to go down for the audition.
These moths, they get caught in the turtle's throat right about here in his cough, right? I gotta smack them on the back of the show, and what do you think they get? Huh? And they get what? Huh? Go what? Show shot. Show shot.
The casting of the picture was absolutely brilliant. In many respects, we were lucky. Like with Talia, she wasn't our first choice for the part. And we're so fortunate that we got her.
When Talia came in, she nailed it. It was no contest. She had a great instinct for this character. I gave her $8. I said, go out and buy Adrienne's clothes.
When Talia walked into the room, it was one of those things where we knew we had the right person. It was just an incredible matchup. So beautiful, such a beautiful woman. And yet, Adrienne, every woman, she was both. It was quite remarkable.
Something occurred in that audition, and John Avildsen started moving around us like with the lens, and the damn thing was happening.
John Avildsen had a vision. He was very, very precise in what he wanted. He was not a man to be trifled with, in a sense that he would just accept things the way they are. They had to be proven. People had to read. Everyone had to read for the part. I don't care who the person was. It was just not. Even Burgess had to read. So he was pretty adamant.
Burgess came in to read. I said, you know, we've done it a couple of times. Let's just improvise. So they run through the scene. Rocky turns to leave, and Burgess says, "Hey, Rock,
What?
you ever think about retiring?" Well, he had never heard that before. So he said, "No." He said, "Well, start thinking about it." I said, "Oh, yeah, that's perfect."
Hey, kid, you ever think about retiring?
No.
You think about it. All right, time.
You're casting people that have it in them. You're not asking them to do things that are beyond. You're not asking them, for example, a guy that's not funny to be funny. And what was great about having them, the actors like Talia and Bert and Burgess in advance, there's certain idiosyncrasies that they have, and you amplify them. Bert has a very odd way of phrasing, so I would restructure sentences for him.
Stallone comes in, and I didn't know him from Adam. He kneels by my table. He says, "Mr. Young," he says, "I'm Sylvester Stallone. I wrote Rocky." I said, "Holy shit, you did a great job. It's wonderful." He says, "You gotta do the part. You gotta do." I said, "Shh, I'm gonna do it. I'm trying to get a couple of dollars, you know." And that's how I met Stallone.
We were just down to the last weeks before we were starting the picture, and just couldn't get the right actor to play the part of Apollo Creed, because we needed someone who was far above Rocky in status. A classy, educated boxer is what we were looking for, in a sense. And we just couldn't find the guy.
I'd come into Los Angeles as a young actor. I'd played professional football, and I knew when that was over. You know, actually, I mean, it was probably way over before I decided it was over, because I was a theater major and I wanted to be in the movies.
And in keeping with great events throughout the country's history, Apollo Creed will duplicate the cracking of the Liberty Bell.
So I read the script.
Okay.
This is me.
Forget about sports as a profession. Sports make you grunt and smell. See, be a thinker, not a stinker.
It's one of those times where you read something and you say, "This is me," right? So now I start whatever I can do to get them to say, "Get me. You got to just get me in the room. You got to get me in the room with these guys."
Carl Weathers came to the office, looked interesting, gave him the sides to read, a scene to read in the from the script. He said, "Give me about 10 minutes to check it out." He went into the other room for about 10 minutes, came out with his shirt off and this great athlete's body. And he said, "I'm ready to do the scene." So Stallone took off his shirt, and the two of them were next to each other, and they did the scene, and it was fabulous. With 10 minutes of not even rehearsal, just reading the scene. It was just fabulous. And we knew we had our guy. We had our Apollo Creed.
Because I just knew and wanted this role so badly. I mean, it was just so beautifully written, this character was so bombastic, and at the same time I saw heart in this character. And I also saw something in him was that what he was doing was covering up. You know, there was this flaw in this guy, and he had to cover it up with all this bombast, you know, and this showmanship and this larger than life. And, you know, generally, I think that's such a piece of humanity that we all sometimes miss. You know, we look at people and we think, oh, he's arrogant, or she's arrogant, and what we don't really see is that they're covering something up.
There's a scene in that movie when they were deciding who to fight, and they had a wonderful actor as the promoter, and they were looking for... That scene could have killed the movie if it wasn't picture perfect, because it was corny. How the hell you look up a book and see a fighter? And if you read it, it was weak. Only as it was acted was it brilliant. Brilliant.
Look, it's the name, man. The Italian Stallion. The media will eat it up. Now, who discovered America? An Italian, right? What would be better than to get it on with one of his descendants?
That was the hardest scene to do because it was an odd transition to make it seem as if this guy has pondered this and have the light bulbs all come on, to really see somebody think. That's the hardest thing on film to do, to really see someone think.
Apollo Creed meets the Italian Stallion. Sounds like a damn monster movie.
You know, a big criterion for us in looking for actors was cost, and director too. It eliminated, thank God, it eliminated so many possibilities. And in the case of John Avildsen, very smart, very skilled, and when we gave him the script, his enthusiasm and his understanding of what this picture was about enthralled us, and there was no question. We wanted him for the director.
So we didn't have a lot of time to do the master, and then the reverse, and this and that. And if you have the time to rehearse the actors, and you have actors who are terrific, as I was blessed with, and you have good dialogue, as Sylvester supplied me with, you can do that. And as long as the thing is working, let it keep going.
I'd like to kill a freaking moron who broke the mirror, that's what
Come on, let's get out of this state, would you? Come on.
Well, John Avildsen's a funny guy. If something doesn't need to be fixed, he doesn't bother. He doesn't tell you just to hear his voice. And so I do a lot of homework. I come in, I usually know where the other actors are going to be. If I'm feeling weak, I might be standing by the door, so I block everybody.
You know, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, you know that? Why don't you come over and talk to her?
Sure. Here?
Tomorrow you come for some bird, right?
Absolutely. You got it.
And John, when he does speak, you should listen to him.
He also had a certain take on shooting it low budget, street equality, and quickly, because the film was done in 28 days, so there was no time to really procrastinate and sit there and ponder, what are we supposed to do? Everyone came prepared.
John set the bar. He set the template, man. You know, thank God for John, because I don't know who else could have directed that movie with the success that John did.
Everyone in the world knows who Rocky is. I have occasion to go to India, and the pictures have not even been out theatrically in India, but everyone knows Rocky. It has become part of the universal mythology.
And the material drives you. If the material has something and says something about humanity that really is significant, man, that you can work with, you know, because that's going to have all kinds of metaphors for life that you live every day and can resonate to any person on the planet, in any country in the planet, at any stage of their life on the planet.
It's a folk tale, and it has enormous respect for those archetypes. And people, all of us, we're born, we're wired, hardwired to understand myth. The good guy, the bad guy, the Darth Vader, and Sylvester brought all of this mythic combat into a tale that was out of the streets.
I was taken by the character of Rocky and how he treated people, didn't break the guy's thumbs, and came up with these lame jokes for his unrequited love in the pet shop. So I was very charmed by the guy.
What's his morality? What are his ideals? What is his sense of fairness? When he goes to ask the fellow for the money, and he jerks him up and he grabs him, and you feel like he's going to break his thumbs. Even Rocky knows this is not a right. The man's hurting, the man's desperate. It's for a couple of bucks. So there's a kindness about the character. There's a serious dichotomy. There's inherent violence in the man, no question about it, and raging violence when he's in the ring. But outside the ring, he's a complete dichotomy of what he is inside the ring.
His was the character that I wanted very much to frame just right, because he was walking a very interesting line with Rocky. So if Rocky could take someone like this and care for her, then you would forgive him the fact that he had to break a couple of thumbs in the front of the film. You can kind of see his conflict and love him.
You want to dance, you got to pay the band. You understand? You want to ball, you got to pay the man. Hey, I ain't emotionally involved, Bob. You understand? Give me some money. Give me some money.
Sylvester is not this character. He had a real good education, went to school in Switzerland, very articulate and intelligent. But he is able to play this street mug very well. So it was just a matter of encouraging him and keeping him focused on that guy and allowing him to be vulnerable.
Take the coat. You know, you should have planned ahead. You know that? You should have planned ahead.
We'll fake it. I'll tape up the hand like it broke the thumb.
Planned ahead.
Dazzle don't have to know.
Rocky is an archetype, and that's why it's universal, because we can all relate to this kind of a character. Because he's a beautiful man. With everything he does, even when he's collecting money for these creeps, he's above them. There's an honesty and integrity to the guy that's just so totally appealing and so completely relatable. And I don't think anyone that I've ever met is really immune to this story.
I can't separate Sylvester as an actor from Sylvester as a personality 30 years later. They're all kind of intertwined. But when I first met him, he was a really Renaissance man because he wrote the script, he played the part, he had a lot to do with the whole direction of the film. John Avildsen directed it, but Stallone was all over him all the time, had his own vision of the film, and being the writer and the actor had a great deal of control. So Sly was more than just a guy that wrote a script and turned it in, or more than just an actor that played a part.
He put on the hat, and he was with the hat and the leather jacket, and he wasn't Sylvester Stallone any longer. He was his character.
He only had 130, but I think he's good for the rest next week, Mr. Gasso.
Sure, Rocky. Bob's good for it. That's it for today.
Sylvester was anxious to get this made. He was an absolute pleasure working with as far as the script is concerned, because he was intimate with it. He knew everybody's lines. I think he told me that he rewrote from a 98-page script, he rewrote like 300 pages.
How come you didn't break this guy's thumb like I told you?
Well, how do you know I didn't break it?
You don't think I hear things? Did I give you a job this morning or I didn't?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So why didn't you break his thumb like I told you to? When you don't do what I tell you to do, you make me look bad, Rock.
Where I'm so lucky, and we're so lucky in Rocky, is that we happen to have an ensemble, and this is an ensemble piece, where every one of these characters are irreplaceable. They're just perfect, and they could do this in their sleep, because they are that person. They have it in them.
He really wants things to be great. I mean, he really works hard. You know, he really focuses. He's really a focused guy, which is one of the things that I really appreciate about him. He does his homework. He's really committed. Standing in front of the camera with him is a joy also, because fortunately he has the ability to take the stuff he writes but not be so married to it that he doesn't allow you flexibility.
So long, meatbag.
I should have broke your thumb!
Sylvester, I think he was sort of an orphan in life. Not anywhere near mainstream, with a big fire burning no place to put it. And he's a poet. He's just simply a poet. He's eloquent, but he's blunt. One of the greatest attributes he has is endurance.
Good acting is carrying on two conversations at the same time. One is your inner conversation going, how do I look? What am I really saying this right? And why am I doing this? What am I trying to achieve here as a character? In other words, I love this person. Does she think I'm a fool? Even though I'm speaking, I'm going, is that line, did she buy that? In other words, people, I think, always have an inner conversation going on with themselves. They may be real tough on the outside, but inside they have all these other issues they're dealing with. And if an actor can be thinking while they're acting, then something comes out. There's a certain break in the speech pattern. There's a certain nuance, rather than just reciting lines. Anyone can recite lines, but to give it nuance, inflection, there has to be, in my case, an inner dialogue going on at the same time. So you're doing two scenes. One scene to yourself and one scene to the other character.
Where's my lock? Whose stuff is this in my lock?
Stipper stuff. It ain't your locker no more.
What are you talking about? It ain't my locker. It's been my locker for 6 years. Where's my gear?
Mickey told me to bag it and hang it.
You put my stuff on Skid Row.
It's a combination of both his writing and his acting. I mean, he knew how to write this character for himself, and he did it brilliantly. And the thing about Sylvester that I don't think people truly respect, because he's just so good at this, is that he's a fine actor.
Hey, Murray, did your brother know you're hanging out so late?
Where'd you get lost? Hey, brother. Hey, these guys teach you to talk like that? Old enough? Hey, don't you never say that.
The little girl scene, they wanted out. They thought that the picture stopped. We don't need the little, he doesn't have to walk the little girl home. Forget it. It just slows everything down. And I said, would you please explain to the producers that when he walks that little girl home, we fall in love with him because of his generosity and taking the time to try to straighten this kid out.
Hey, you got a boyfriend? No, you ain't got a boyfriend. You know why? Why don't you think you have a boyfriend? Because you're hanging out with them coconuts in the corner.
And that's why the scene ended up in the movie.
Night, Rocky.
Hey, Marie, take care, you know?
Hey, Rocky.
Yo.
Screw you, creepo.
I remember that we were sharing a little camper in Philadelphia, and we're going out for the first shot. And I'm watching him. He steps out of the trailer, and he sighed, like... And he remembers it as I remember it. It was like, okay, let's cut all the talk. Now it has to happen. He took a fragile sigh, and we both remember it. And then he went on, like a soldier.